Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. Jack Neary. Jack Neary. Oh, yeah, there you are. You're in the back office. How you doing, Jack? Boy, did we open up a can of worms. Oh, baby. This is, let me tell you how this little shindig started. Jack gets with me yesterday, wants to talk about Alex Jones. Now, I don't even watch a lot of Alex Jones, but I used to listen to him a lot. We got a real hootenanny on my page talking about freedom and freedom of speech. And Jack, get your camera right already. Will you please figure out going? There we go. Beautiful. Okay, here he comes in 3, 2, 1. Oh, perfect. Never ask a comedian to do. Never ask a comedian to do the right thing. What's up, Jack? Look at the crap you got me into.
Listen.
Hashtag
I
listen.
do it all the time. I do this all the time. I literally started this today. I looked at one of the things. I was like, no, man. Like, what are you talking about? It's people hear things and then they just say more of that thing.
Yeah, it's like they read the headlines, but they don't read the article, which, by the way, I don't read all the articles, but I just know that I live in America, and whenever people like want to start stymieing speech, I just go, wait a second, where did I wake up? Where am I?
I got really angry. I read,
what? Did you get triggered?
Yeah. Listen,
Who?
it was said there were 7 different, and they gave it from different perspectives. 7 different journalists wrote their perspective on this through yeah, I know,
Look at this.
About Alex Jones, right? And what they said was that I would say like 5 out of 7 of them said that they thought that he should have been taken down. And it's like, wait, you're a journalist voting for censorship. In fact, this one journalist, she wrote, God, what did she exactly say? She said that hate speech is a form of terrorism.
Hey, it's funny you say that because I put graphics up. Hate speech is like the new catchphrase for everything. Hate speech.
Like you do realize that, like, when I think of terrorism, I think of like a guy with binoculars who put bombs around my house and is waiting for me to screw up and step on one. Not a guy that talks about goblins stealing my kids in the night. That's, by the way, semi-entertaining.
Yeah, that's the thing. People can't consider the damn source. P.T. Barnum, did you ever read his books?
Yeah.
Well, not that he wrote them, but people wrote books about him. That guy was a pisser back in the day. Mark Twain, another one. You know, like, when are we going to stop burning the books digitally? That's what I want to know.
You know, I would go on YouTube and you know what I do? This is what I would say. I go, hey, let's see what, he's like your crazy uncle. Let's see what Alex Jones is talking about this week. Right?
Hey, listen, look at Shannon. We got Shannon watching. She never watches my show because my shows used to be batshit crazy too. It'd be dirty. Hey, I got Shannon watching. It's a good. We're turning the tide on the Big Daddy Road Show. She says that Alex Jones is nuts, but that she likes to watch him too. Right. But you see, guys like Ian on my page. God bless you, Ian. I did send you the link, so if you want to come live, do the thing. Let's go. Let's do this. I don't want people throttling what I see on the internet. I see Facebook and YouTube and Google as these big monopolies that can control 90% of what people see. And I'm like, they owe us a little something. We started out with them when they were little peanuts, little peanut companies. And now just like all the other utilities, because they, you were talking about, like, should they be regulated? And I'm like, yeah, maybe they should be, because I don't want people telling me what I can and can't see. And I don't want to have to go somewhere else to see it where they put it. If you don't like it, turn the channel.
Well, Big Daddy, here's the thing. Okay.
All right.
So YouTube, if I pay for YouTube, right, and they provide me a platform to put a bunch of my videos on, and I get, X amount of videos a month, but I'm paying $10. Listen, I'm paying money to put this stuff up here. And then what they decide is they don't like my stuff, so they take it down.
Yeah.
Right?
Twitter does the same thing, right?
But hold on. If I listen, my water company is a utility, right?
Right.
Okay, if I decide to take a cup of water outside and dump it on someone's head, and I continue to do this, do they cancel my water? No! You can't cancel my water. I can do whatever I want with it, because I paid for it. See?
Well, I don't know. No, see, that's just, I don't totally agree in today's world. It depends what kind of political structure you have in your area. If the right person, the right corrupt person knows somebody, and you threw the, first of all, Jack, you shouldn't be throwing water on people.
No, that's an example.
It's not nice.
It's an
That's
example.
not nice.
It's an example. Listen,
I know it's a bad example. It's a horrible example.
It's an example of me showing bad behavior.
Matthew says in the chat below that comparing the Facebook and stuff to a utility is dumb as fuck. Oh, shit. I don't even want to say curses. I'm sorry, Shannon. Matthew made me do it, but I do a lot less.
He couldn't explain it better.
What's that?
He couldn't explain it better.
No, they don't have to explain stuff. Don't you understand? That's what drives me batshit nutty with these guys. They don't got to explain something. They just have their political agenda. They have their angle to see things, and then that's it. We're supposed to now. If you try to debate them, well, you know what I seen, and I'm not even a Trump big fan. I'm not, but you'll get labeled. You'll get labeled. And anyway, so when they started to talk about Trump, you notice they never say their president. That's troublesome to me. This is America. The election was done. We have a president. If it would have been Hillary, I'd be like, President Hillary Clinton, But and I don't give a shit who won. It is what it is. That's what America's all about. We take it to a vote. But they'll say they're not triggered and they don't have an agenda. And I think, wow.
No. The only person that, I truly don't have an agenda because I don't vote because I don't want to be part of your group. I do my own stuff. You guys could have your whatever and argument, the Republican and Democrat. I don't have to do that because I live life differently and it works much better. Listen, let me tell you a story. My wife, traffic lights, by the way, are a form of regulation. They try to make sure this traffic stopping here at this time, this traffic stopping here at that time.
Wait a second. Are you about to tell me that you don't want traffic signals?
Let me explain my story.
Is it like your water story?
No, it's better.
Okay.
Because it ends up with my wife agreeing with me, which she never does.
Whoa, bonus.
Okay, listen. So she tries the same.
Listen. Sorry.
She tries the same route every day.
Who does?
My wife.
Who does that?
Yeah, people do that.
No, that's dumb. That's boring. Go ahead.
Well, it is, but she has to drive to these clients, and she has to get there by certain times during the day.
The same way she goes.
3 lights in a major city were broken down.
Oh, no.
Chaos, car accidents.
Pandemonium.
She's going to get to work later. She got to her clients 20 minutes quicker, and all of the traffic flowed just fine because people let each other out. They went, oh, you move in, and you move in. They spoke out their windows to people, and they used their horn to beat the other one along. She's like, literally, you've been calling for this, and I told you were crazy because people are just going to do whatever. And they did whatever, the right thing. It didn't cause accidents.
All right. See, again, you in this is like even you dabble in that utopia world.
It works.
That works. Listen, your science experiment wasn't big enough. It wasn't a big enough sample.
Well, I'm 100% right now. I'm 100 for 100.
Yeah, it's a small sample. But I'm telling you, with 327 million people in this country, trust me, there's a lot of dipshits that are going to screw that up big time.
Well, my sister lives... Not anymore. She did. But my sister lived when she had her first child. She lived in Africa.
Shannon's like going. Shannon's first time in the chat, and she's losing it. She's going crazy with the chat. I can't even keep up with that.
Now, in the spot in Africa where she lived, it was very busy. It was. My grandmother described it when she went to go see the new baby as New York busy, and I was like, "Well, how was it?" She's like, "Well, they didn't have traffic lights, and that scared me." And she goes,
"Where was this?"
After a day or two, this was it was a part of Africa. I can't remember the name of it now. No traffic lights.
Shannon says she almost dies daily in Hazleton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, but you don't is the point.
Well, but but she almost does.
Get scared.
She almost does.
But so in Africa, right? My grandmother was scared the first couple of days, and I go, "Well, how'd it work?" She goes, "Well, they were just yelling out the window, but I wasn't used to it." And she goes, "It flowed and it worked. I was scared the first day because I was thinking, how is this thing going to work? And it did, because it works. And that's a big sample size. That works on a whole new continent with other monkeys."
Well, I don't know, guys. You guys want to start climbing ladders and disconnected stoplights for Jack's science experiment? Let's maybe we should pick one city and work from there. See what happens.
I mean, the phone technology hasn't been helping us, right? I mean,
No.
honestly.
Now listen, you were speaking of flow, traffic flow. You were on a flow, so I didn't want to interrupt you. But I owe Matthew a little bit of a break. He does. Of all the people on my page that drive me crazy and drive me to drink, he is one that does present his cases. I just don't agree with what he uses to present his cases sometimes. But this show is about, by the way, folks, this is, if you were coming with the teaser of Alex Jones, sorry, this isn't that show. But Jack and I are trying to produce a show on Alex Jones because that guy's crazy, wicked fun to listen to. I don't care what anybody says. The guy's a nutbag. And some of the shit he says, he really makes you think. And I like anybody that makes me think, even if he's, batshit crazy. But I think people should consider the source. But I don't want people like Ian, who's on my page, telling me or other people who I can listen to. He doesn't like Alex Jones, so be gone, Alex Jones. Be gone. Off with your head.
Don King stole money from a ton of boxers. Okay? And he hoots and hollers to the high heaven. Do I want Don King banned? Nah, there's a part of him that's entertaining. I like when he yells and, he sings his gospel and he drapes himself in the flag. He's funny. He's like, the guy you invite, and you're like, you get a little bit of whiskey in him and he's funny.
By the way, what is this whole Q thing Shannon's talking about? Shannon, please slow down. I can't keep up with the chat. But I love that you're here. It's amazing you're here. I guess you got my message that we cleaned up our show a little bit. I only said one F-bomb. I want credit for that, Jack. Listen, where the hell were we? The point of this show is that you and me both seem to agree that freedom of speech is a pretty big damn deal. And being censored is not a good thing. That's sort of like prohibition. That didn't work.
It didn't. That's a proven case where it didn't work.
Hey, here's a graphic. I don't know if I didn't check it out, but there's George Washington talking about freedom of speech. I don't know, but I dig those old guys. They really seem to have. I was actually going to ask you, when we do our show about Alex Jones, can we dress up in colonial garb and have the sticks and start whacking them on the floor when we start debating with like Ian and Matthew? Because I think that would be fun. We could wear the wigs.
We should call in a judge.
We should. No, how would you? You could never do that in America today because then they would say, well, you got a Republican judge or you got a Democratic judge. How would that work?
Well, we got to find a guy kind of, I'm not saying like me.
We need to find a corpse. We need to find a corpse that we can move its jaw.
Find a guy that sits on the fence and laughs when people say, it's Trump and triggered.
That's sort of, by the way, this is new to me. I left political banter years ago. I used to be on forums. I'd be like typing all night. You son of a bitches. I used to lose my shit. Much like Matthew and Ian. I know they're losing their shit. That's why they're not live right now. They're not cool cucumbers like you and me. But I think I know why. You know my CBD oils for my back pain?
Yeah.
You know how damp it is in Pennsylvania today?
Oh, God. Flooding.
It's like 100% humidity because it's like raining all the time. Dude, I am not experiencing the severe pain, and I'm like 12 days on this CBD oil. Yeah. I'm beginning to believe this shit might be working.
That's awesome. Seriously.
Anyway, boy, it's a good thing nobody throttled the information on CBD oil and stuff. I wouldn't even have seen it and tried it. But I'm still testing. You know what I'm going to start doing now? I'm going to stop taking it and then see if the pain comes back.
That's a good idea, actually. People think.
Yeah. It could be a placebo, right? Also, I'm going to start amping up my chores because I can't basically do anything. So if I can actually get more work done while taking this shit, I am going to be the biggest CBD oil supplier on the planet. If I got to move to a different state, I'm going to have Big Daddy CBD oil for sale. Telling you. Anyway,
but if we kept things censored, then you wouldn't know about CBD oil. You wouldn't know about hemp. You wouldn't know about any of that stuff.
Right, so, and the prohibition on hemp was huge, and now that's a lot of states are allowing people to grow hemp. It should have never been stopped being grown. It's people who are crony politicians and crony business people who have sub rosa agreements, which, by the way, that means under the table. If anybody doesn't know what sub rosa means, that's under the table lingo. They make these deals and be damned the average Joe. They're not worried about the average Joe. The average Joe could just figure it out. Period.
Well, what about when you do realize that there were sailors back when Columbus, set forth or whatever.
No way. Was that on the internet? I never seen that. There was sailors on the what?
There were other sailors besides Columbus.
I don't believe it.
There were like 4.
Or?
Yeah, there were 4 exactly. They stuck with an even number of sailors in those times, right?
Okay, folks, that may or may not have been true, but take it in the context of the Big Daddy Roadshow. Jack and I are like part-time comedians. That was funny. 4, the number, the 4 was great.
1492, they stuck with even numbers. They were afraid of odd numbers.
That's right. It was odd numbers equaled Satan.
Yeah, they censored certain parts of sailing because the world was flat.
There's still people that are flat earthers, Jack.
Sure, but they absolutely censored some. Like, you can only go on our certain routes. Don't go past it. You'll fall off the edge. And they wouldn't fund certain boats to go in certain areas.
Right.
Is that okay? Because we didn't grow. See? We're hindering growth by censoring.
I agree with you. And now it's so damp in my studio, I guess my software is not working. I just put a picture up, or my show's being attacked by Satan. I'm not sure. I can't get the creepy fella off the screen.
They're terrible goblins going to take your kids in the night.
Was that your Alex Jones impression?
Yeah, terrible.
Anyway, this was a great graphic I found. It says, "Shut up, freedom of speech." Now let's see if I can add it. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to reboot this shit. Well, Jack, you know the drill. Stay put. 2 seconds. I'm gonna reboot to see if I can get my stuff to work.
Write it in crayon.
And they just asked me to do would I recommend this software to other folks? When I opened up the software, it said 1 to 10. And guess what I hit? 1. And I never give a 1. All right, I'll be right back. Jack, don't go nowhere. We'll finish up. This is just a quick show on the freedom of speech, and then Jack and I are producing the show specifically on Alex Jones, which will include freedom of speech. So please tell your friends and get your popcorn ready. I'll be back. I just got to reboot the show. Hold on 1 second, Jack. Keep them entertained for me. Tell some jokes or something, or tell them about Brad Lowry's new. Did you see Brad Lowry's new video? Tell them about that.
Yeah, it was funny. Brad Lowry. I guess I'm currently live while Big Daddy's coming back. Brad Lowry's he's a traveling comic. You don't get to see many working comedians. Listen, you got Bill Burr. You have, of course, Louis C.K. before the controversy. But Brad Lowry's a really funny working comedian. And, the working comedians are out, 200 times a year doing 3 to 4 or 5 spots a week. And they that's where you really hone your craft. And Brad Lowry, along with Joe Matarese, has been doing it for 20 some odd years, and they don't get the recognition that they both deserve. They're funny.
And shout out to Wisecrackers in Wilkes-Barre and Scranton and the Poconos and every other damn place, because he's got them everywhere. Scott Bruce, he's a good friend of ours. Yeah, shout out to the comedians out there. See, that's another thing. See, like, the censorship stuff is a slippery slope, because now you're going back to like the 60s, and they used to try and keep people like George Carlin from saying certain words, and it's like, yeah, it's no good.
Well, Lenny Bruce was shut down in clubs.
Yeah.
So what would happen was clubs wouldn't have Lenny Bruce because 10 minutes into his show, police would walk in and shut down his platform. And then what would happen was the club would never have him back because, they knew the police would show up. So Lenny Bruce started losing shows, and he really they canceled his life for him.
Yeah, they basically, he ended up, and he was just wicked. His writing ability was crazy. He was before his time, basically. He was
the first one to sign George Carlin.
Yeah, if he didn't show up, people like George Carlin wouldn't have. But then again, that's the pendulum swings, right? And like you said, Louis C.K., man, some of his shit is really over the line with the pedophilia and stuff. I hate it, but I don't want to stop them from saying it, even though I'm passionate against pedophiles. It's like you can't stop. See, I'd rather know people talking shit like that. That way I could.
Well, the story of Lenny Bruce met George Carlin. George Carlin went to a Lenny Bruce show. Cops came in, shut the place down. The cops came up to George Carlin and asked him for ID. And he said, I don't believe in IDs. And the bar was already serving him. So the cops arrested him, and he ended up in a cell with Lenny Bruce. Right? Lenny Bruce, George Carlin at the time wasn't George Carlin. He was a Lenny Bruce impersonator.
And he was also the hippy-dippy weatherman.
Yes, he was.
True. Yes.
But Lenny Bruce was like, hey, man, I know who you are. You're me, aren't you? When I can't be out there? And he's like, yeah. He goes, I impersonate you. You know, I hope I do a good job. He goes, you do a good job, but don't get stuck in that. And he's like, well, I kind of have to eat right now. He goes, all right, I'll talk to Columbia tomorrow and we'll sign you. They did. They signed him.
All the, listen, comedians are just like rock bands or music acts. Everybody's trying to find their niche and find their character. And, you know, you got to get up there and hit them with your best 15 to 45. And some people are just really good writers. And if anybody doesn't think that George Carlin was just a fantastic comedic writer, then, hey, it's your freedom to think that way. But anybody in the comedy world knows the truth, because writing funny stuff is not easy, you know. Right. It's not easy. But we're talking censorship, freedom of speech. This is inspired by this guy with the funny mustache. My God, did I just say that? That sounded like hate speech. Shit, I really didn't even mean it in a hateful way. I think your stash looks awesome. You know that.
I didn't hate it.
You what?
I didn't hate it.
Oh, so yeah, but thank God you would have been triggered and been losing your, you know what?
If I hate it, then I call like 3 people and, you know, I cry to my grandmother, and then, you know, I come back and I write you a nasty letter. That's when we have problems.
Oh, I get lots of Facebook. My show's not even followed by but more than a couple, you know, on a good week, couple, maybe 3,000 people, right? Will watch it. Yeah. And I get lots of, let's say there's a lot of freedom in the letters I get. They really let you know, you know? It's cool.
That's good though.
But they don't come, but
uh-oh. We're paused on the one end. But I am still currently live, I believe. I don't know if it all paused. Something paused. Now I have Alex Jones pointing at me. And, he's got that hate look in his eye, I'll tell you. I'm currently live. All right, well, as long as I'm currently live, I might as well use my freedoms appropriately and speak. Hate speech is a term created by people that are losing money on other people's freedom to speak. Okay, sponsorships probably said that they were going to pull out. You know, when these corporations and conglomerates get notices of lost sponsorship, that's when they start pulling, because they're going to lose money. You know, the fact of the matter is that Alex Jones, however wacky he was, they were going to lose sponsorships for holding on to his product. You know, he ticked off a billionaire, and in the middle of the night, right, like the Redcoats, they wiped him off the internet.
What?
Right? The Redcoats are coming, Alex Jones. Here come the Redcoats. And he woke up in the morning and went to work like you would, and they demolished his building. And then he went to his other building, and that one was on fire. That's what they did.
What?
Well, they deplatformed him. Apple, YouTube, and Google. He woke up after a good night's sleep, and he was going to talk about goblins. And
I don't think it was like the Redcoats at all.
Yeah, they came in the middle of the night. The Redcoats did.
All right, in that way, it is kind of like the Redcoats, because that's my question. Who specifically made the decision on these companies, like in the board of directors? I want to know who did it. And here's why I want to know who did it. Because what is Matthew, and sorry, Matthew, I can't even keep up. I can't even keep up with the chat because I am so thrilled to have Shannon in the chat because she is so afraid to come near my show because of how crazy it used to be. It's not that crazy anymore. Anyway, I want to know who made the decisions because Ian says, go read the rules. And Ian's like jamming the rules up our bum. And I want to know those vague rules. How come they're not applying to other people? I want to know, like on other political spectrums, why there seems to be a double standard for these vague rules. And so that means it's personal, not about the rules. It's political, or like you said, it's big business. And by the way, is anybody noticing the number of sponsored ads and now commercials on YouTube and Facebook? They kind of like creep that crap in there. And it's like, oh, well, we dropped cable, so all the commercials got to go somewhere. So where are we going to go next? I think we should start our own platform. I think
what they did was they shifted. So instead of giving you the 15 whatever second commercial on TV, they shifted to a 5-second ad or a 10-second ad on a 6-minute video that you watch in the palm of your hands. This is a TV now.
Yeah.
This is a TV.
On YouTube, you get like you could stop watching this in 5, 4. I feel bad for people that make really bad ads on YouTube because I'm always clicking that button to go to my video that I'm looking for immediately. And they'll start their ad with, hey, it's Bob from down at Bob's. And then I'm clicking to go to the video. I don't even know what the hell Bob was talking about.
Well, but people need to stop. I mean, they need to stop a lot of things, but they need to stop referring to this. See, this thing, it calls, but it doesn't mainly call. It mainly lets us watch things. That's what it mainly does. How many people do you call a week?
3.
How many videos you watch a day?
Maybe on a good day, 5. But that's not
TV.
Including, huh?
It's a TV. It's not a phone. You
right.
Call 3 people a week. You watch 5 videos a day. That's 35 videos a week. This is a TV. It's a small TV.
What's a small
and they
TV?
Shifted it. Our phones.
Oh, I'm not on my phone.
Oh, well, I'm on my phone.
Anyway, Matthew says that they do, in fact, he knows progressive pages that get censored all the damn time. He's
that's
pissed.
Wrong, too.
Isn't that what we're... See, that's what I'm like. That's why I'm like putting... that's why I'm kind of like having fun with Ian and Matthew in that thread, because I think we're all close, but yet they're not being honest, and they just hate Alex Jones that bad. Like, they're like, F Alex Jones. So it's like a mob mentality. That mob happens to not like Alex, so they're with it. Bye-bye, Alex. And my whole point is, with the whole freedom thing, is that where does it end? Who gets to decide who gets rid of who? And then the internet's going to be worthless because it's going to be just like a little slice. You're going to see here's the blinders that somebody else put on you. You'll have no peripheral vision. You're going to see your vision will be what somebody determines your vision will be. And I don't think that that's what the internet, the wide WWW worldwide vast web was initially designed for. It was initially designed.
But that's where they'll take you.
What's that?
That's not what it initially wasn't for that. It was for information and all this other stuff. But eventually that's what's going to become because people vote for that stuff. They vote for their own prisons. They do.
Well, that's what I was saying too. Like, let's just wait till November, see what the vote does. How many people don't vote? There's 327 million supposedly. The number of people that don't vote, and then they say, "Oh, well, I don't vote." I think somebody was all proud about not voting. Was it Matthew? Okay, we lost him, so now it's all me. We're talking about freedom of speech on the Big Daddy Roadshow. This is a short. I'm not going to go too long. I see the chat's afire. Thank you, Shannon. It's great to see you finally on the Big Daddy Roadshow show chat. I'll check much of what you said afterwards. Wow, the chat's all over the place too. The chat's all over the place. I guess this whole freedom of speech thing is it's a trigger. People are triggered.
Am I there?
Yeah, you're there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Oh, I'm invisible. That's the internet. That's apparently we've said Alex Jones too many times.
You remind me of the great and powerful Oz. Like I'm just talking.
That's exactly. It's exactly who I am. I'm pushing buttons and flames are shooting up right now. You can't see that?
I feel good about it.
Did you see that comment where I said the utopia that people want? I wish for it too, but let's face it. There's too many people bumping into each other out there, and human beings are too unique and different. And I'm not for censorship, man. I'd rather
listen. Farmers were close to the utopia. Farmers had their own food. They owned their own land. They had their own vegetables. And what happened? The government started regulating the farms, right? And then the farmers had to take loans out of banks, or loans from banks, right? To get their farm up to regulation, up to code. And then they weren't making the what do you want to call it, the loan back from the bank. So they became in debt, and now they're a part of the system now. Farmers were the closest. And the government realized it, so they started coming in and going, hey, those gutters don't look like they're up to code. It's like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and the closest I think we have today in that world, but I don't think that all people would even agree in the Amish community. They're close to a simpler life, right? But some Amish people leave that life. They're like, the hell with that. No, thank you. A lot of them, and they actually have to leave. That's the interesting thing about their whole world. They have to leave and experience. I don't even know what they call it, so I'm afraid to say. Is it the white English world? Is that what they say? Go out and see modern America, and come back to our way of living if you feel it's better. I don't know, but yeah, if you would have told me that Alex Jones would have ever inspired one of my shows, I wouldn't have believed it. I used to just take him I used to be driving down the highway. I would be laughing so hard. It would be alien talk, or that like Matthew was alluding to, the frogs. But, but there is some truth to what he says. They are scientists that are genetically screwing with animals. And, okay, he kind of was flamboyant, and he stretched the truth a little bit, calling the frogs gay. But I think he was basically saying that they were changing, a female frog.
How about the Bohemian Grove video that he put up, where 200 world leaders, meet up in, upper Northern California, and they pay homage to an owl.
Yeah,
that's a little strange. And that video is factual because he was there. He infiltrated it. So you can't say it's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and when he interviewed the big politicians coming out of it, they were you could see their body language was they were very disturbed that they were, and the one guy just kept saying it was very disrespectful for you to be on that property and to take, this is supposedly some kind of ritual that goes, listen, I'm a past president of an Elks Lodge, right? When people join benevolent groups in the community, we joke, oh, you got to kiss the goat or something to join the club. No, it's not. It's just these are just benevolent groups that do various things for the community. There is ritual to it. It's about respect and justice. It's actually about things, in our case, American values, justice and liberty. But we joke. But here's a picture of Skull and Bones, if that's what you're referring to. If that's what that is.
Well, no, I'm referring to Bohemian Grove, where 200 world leaders go and
they dress in robes and they chant to a big owl effigy.
And the talk is that they decide what the next year is going to look like because they have all the money. And now that last part could be just conspiracy, but the fact of the matter is they all meet there every year, and there always seems to be the president or the next guy in line has been there, or he was there. There's something to it.
I love my audience. John says that when I asked the question earlier about what this whole Q thing is, he says that Q has to do with security clearance. Did you see it? Some of the Trump rallies, some people were holding up papers that had a big Q on it. I thought maybe they just had a question. Anyway, I was scanning one of my 5 videos today, and I'm only on video 2 today, I found this young kid. I found this young kid that's talking about Q. And the plane that went down out in we were talking about yesterday on the show with Froblo out west?
Yeah.
Froblo, by the way, was living and hanging out within a mile of where that plane crashed yesterday. What are the odds, right? He said FBI agents and government officials are all over the islands, and it's crazy. Well, there's this young kid on the internet that's very much like Alex Jones mentioning this whole Q thing. Mm-hmm. If you take a look at the plane, there's a big Q on the side of the plane that crashed. There was missiles fired at POTUS or to be fired at POTUS's plane, but yet it had something to do with that. Listen, I like shows like that, even if they're just made up. But what if they're not made up? What if it turns out to be something? But if we ban people from talking about just anything, you are squashing information. Possibility, right? You're taking possibilities away. Period.
Right.
And I'm going to find this kid's video because he's just like, he reminds me of Alex Jones, and he kept saying, and this is crazy, right, folks? This is crazy, right? Like, now get this. When the guy was up there flying this plane before he ditched it, or he was shot down by the fighter pilots, he was in a Q pattern. And he even put the line in for the Q as if it's some kind of message. That's the kind of stuff that Coast to Coast AM used to talk about, that Alex Jones show used to talk about. Of course, Alex Jones got very political and he hates Hillary, and we get all that. It's obvious. But yeah,
I thought I saw a picture on the site where I saw those two making out.
Who?
Alex Jones and Hillary Clinton.
That's the other thing that's crazy about 2018, Jack. You never know what.
I could start that rumor, and now he can't dispel it.
No, but not only that, with the graphics and with the audio programs and stuff, you could damn near make anybody say or look like they're doing anything.
Yeah.
What's Boston John, another comedian, saying? If people care about freedom of speech, then why do they cry about people ragging Trump? I don't rag about them ragging on Trump. I just want facts. That's all. And I don't see that some people are really, they're giving opinions, and they have these like, and they'd say the same about us too, probably. And in some cases, we'd all be right. But just because you believe something, your opinion, your 5-pound opinion, I call them 5-pound opinions, Jack. Just because we have an opinion doesn't mean we're 100% right. I type that in all the time. I typed it in that thread just now that was going crazy. I was like, I might be wrong. I might be thinking this wrong. I'm open to, but some people aren't open to anything. They're like, this is the way it is.
But that's the thing. They figure out, they think they figure out, and then they stay in that closed pocket. Instead of like you've watched NFL. Obviously, I have my own sports show, right?
No shit. Hey, Jack, do you want to give a plug to your sports show?
Yeah, I run a sports show called Shot of Jack, and I talk about various interesting topics amongst the sports world. But there's a quarterback pocket, right? And that's the best place that a quarterback can throw the ball from. It's the most protected area. But there is a world and a life outside that pocket, and if he makes it outside the pocket unscathed, he can also throw to receivers outside of there. See, these people that remain and really they love and they need that pocket. It's a security. They have their Republican base, or they're a libertarian, or they're a Democrat, or they're for this kind of speech but against that kind of speech. They rally and they need that stuff. But once you leave that stuff behind, that's when you really gain freedom. I don't really in the summertime, I don't have to get my vegetables from a supermarket. I grow them in the background. I grow them in my backyard. I have a garden. And there's a bit of a freedom to that. That's the way I believe. I think it's easiest to live freely.
Matthew says, why do we keep saying my name? I like saying your name, Matthew. If you don't want me to say your name.
My middle name, actually.
What's that?
Matthew's my middle name, actually.
Oh. He says, I was against censorship too, even though I hate Alex Jones. Yeah. It's hard to even keep up with what people stand for. Like Matthew was saying, boy, Tom, if you didn't mention it, you know, people would think you are like a far right thinker. And I'm like, no, I tell people all the time, I'm right leaning, like really center. So I'm right center. I guess I could be independent, but there's some things I believe. But, you know, that doesn't mean I'm against like freedom of choice for women. And like there's lots of things I agree with on the Democratic Party. I like to think it's because I'm an American. And I think like, hey, we've had these laws passed. They passed. And I also think for myself, and I think like it's a woman, it's her body, it's her choice.
Well, that's the thing. Like I ask people all the time. I go, "Are you a conservative?" And they're like, "No, I'm a liberal." I go, "Okay, well, no, you're a conservative." And they're like, "No, I'm liberal." I go, "Listen, you go to the grocery store." And they go, "Yeah." I go, "Do you buy one chip?" And they go, "No, I buy a bag of chips." I go, "You eat the whole bag of chips when you go home?" And they go, "Well, no, I put it away for later." I go, "Oh, to conserve." Okay. Now, all liberal means is, dude, I don't care what you do. Really, that's what it means. Liberating. Do what you want. Like, dude, if you got yourself in a bad situation, like, for instance, a woman, you know, she was promiscuous that night. You know, and she was like, that was one bad night.
Hey, who said it was bad, Jack?
No, I'm not saying Jack was the one who said I didn't say anything about anybody.
Yeah, I don't see. I think I don't know what. I think that sometimes
I said that about myself, but I did not say that about someone else.
It was something I said Matthew's off about. Don't worry, Matthew likes to get off on tangents sometimes.
No, I'm just saying that I don't volunteer anyone else's opinion but my own.
The chat is, see, when you give people the freedom of speech, it's all over the place. I cannot wait to read some of this chat. I can't keep up with it. Yeah, okay, so supposedly John's saying that Q is a conspiracy group. So that'll be interesting because there's people holding the Q signs up at Trump rallies. So here's an example of what'll happen.
They had to find something to do with that letter.
Well, but here's the thing. What'll happen is the people that have an agenda will then attach that Q to the president, and anything they do, it'll be him. And that's what people do. They label people, they attach things, they don't do the research. Like I guarantee you, John did research quick on this. And after watching that young kid showing the Q on the side of the plane, but that is weird because I seen that a week ago at a Trump rally. There was a guy holding a Q on a piece of paper. And isn't it weird that just a week later, some guy commits suicide via plane, and on the side of the plane, there's a Q. So you see what happens it's like just coincidence, but they could make a whole thing out of that.
Haven't we seen this show before? I mean, like, aren't you bored of watching this show? It's the same thing. Oh, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach something to this, and then they're going to be involved in it too. It's the same show. I'm going to attach this thing to this group, and then this group is going to be this way. Like, this isn't hard to figure out that you guys are just doing the same thing differently.
Matthew says I'm speaking incorrectly of him. He should come live and correct me. Oh, I'm sure I misspeak too. People misspeak, Matthew, when you speak all the time. But I was saying that I believe what I was saying was that it was him that mentioned he doesn't vote. And I said earlier in the show, again, you can't even remember. We were all over the place. But the bottom line is that we're all going to have, listen, this is what you were alluding to before. And it had to do with like being in the pocket. You used the football analogy. People are in bubbles and there are so many different unique people on this planet that, yeah, they're in their own collective little bubbles. And what's happening is we've proven in societies where everybody can coexist. But what's happening in the internet world is everybody's life is being shown day in and day out, 24 hours a day, in your face. This is what this group's like. This is what this group's like. In the past, we never got to really see that. And everybody's like, holy shit, those people in that bubble are, wow, they are out there. And they've always been there. They've been there in the 50s and the 60s. People are different. There's all kinds of different people, transgender, gay. It's just now everybody has a microphone and a video camera, and we see things live instantaneously. But the thing is that what's wrong with the bubbles? Everybody live and let live. But the problem is some people cause trouble and has to go and poke somebody else's bubble. And they have to bust somebody else's bubble's balls. And really, comedians, I think, when I go to comedy clubs and I see the whole room laughing, I go, isn't it weird? Everybody lets it go for the most part in a comedy room. For the most part, because all comedians, if you talk to them today, will tell you that some audiences are kind of like, you've got to be watching some of your jokes today in 2018 in some rooms.
And if you talk to comics, they'll tell you that listen, in the comedy world amongst comedians, we let it all go, and we all get along to some degree. Right? Like, that's the way it is. Comedians, let it go. Like, I'm overthinking that, you know, I didn't, obviously, but I'm
okay, so that. Matthew, wait, hold up. Let me just publicly say this. Matthew, if I had you confused, because again, I was actually making dinner when that wild chat was going between Ian and you and me and that other feller with the alien graphic. I can't even remember all the people that were commenting. But yeah, I thought it was you, Matthew. So my apologies. Matthew votes, everybody.
No, it was me. I said it because I don't need a leader. I can lead myself. I don't need someone to take me to work in the morning or help me find a job. I can do all those things on my own. I can create and accumulate my own skills. So I don't need to vote for another man to go vote for reasons for me to spend money on things I don't ever see anyway, like fixed roads, for instance.
Yeah, but those roads should be fixed.
But they don't. They don't get fixed.
But certainly the tax dollars are collected to do so. So where's that money going?
Stolen. And then your taxes go up because they want to steal more next year.
That's right. The budgets always go up. They never budget. They should come up with another word for politicians to use. Because
they don't. Budget.
What?
They budget to take more of your money next year.
Yeah, but a budget is supposed to be used to keep yourself under check. We make a budget, and then we try to keep to that budget. No, they should come up with some other word. What's that?
They use it to keep the monkeys under check. You under check, not them. They spend your money, then they find a reason to raise taxes next year, 10%, 5%, whoever gets in, right? And then they spend that 10% the same way they did last year on stuff they want. And then everybody bickers, and then they vote this guy in. And that guy does the same thing as the last guy. Keep voting. It's a really
well, real quick, we'll close up here, Jack.
Exercise.
It's gonna be fun to do a show on Alex Jones. We really have to do our homework on him and work on your impression of him. It was pretty damn close, spot on. If you could get some spit.
How am I going to do that?
Huh?
How am I going to do that? I have to watch his videos to get it down pat. I don't have any videos.
You just got to spit more. Try to get some spit on the lens. Matthew says his sexy tax is going through the roof. He can't help it. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I don't know what the taxes are crazy. In 2008 in Pennsylvania, they raised our taxes considerably, which was right in the middle of that downturn recession. You know, I don't know. I think people are pissed because they're conditioned lately and recently to be pissed. Like they want to be pissed. Like in other words, okay, so you have President Trump. You don't like him. You didn't like that he was elected. But what don't you like about what's going on? The economy's doing better. There's supposedly more jobs. I mean, there are some things like why can't these people see some positive? And yes, he's a buffoon. He's a caricature. They make balloons and float it over London about him.
But this has been.
He's a bigot. But it's a free country, huh?
You realize this has been done before, right?
Well, but what is different? Of course, we've had politicians.
It's not. You had a Democratic president before, which was Obama. Put a lot of restrictions on the bank because of Bush's regulations that caused the housing crisis. Okay. Then you had Obama, who put the handcuffs on, and then Trump took the handcuffs off. Of course, the economy was going to go up. We saw that back when Reagan was president. Reagan took the handcuffs off after Carter. It's not a new. It's not a new trick. You could have done this.
So that's what you're saying. I'm putting you on the calls here. Exactly. It's just a way of controlling the population. Then you cultivate the garden. You cultivate the garden. You keep people off a steady terra firma. You keep them constantly bitching with each other about bitching. And so the answer is, and this is how we'll wind it down. Let's get rid of all the street lights. Fuck it. Oh, boom. And then
we start there.
And then you won't be able to get a ticket for going through a red light.
I like it. I'm saving money already.
I don't think it'll work. I think this is what I'm saying. We always try, and that's the other thing we do, and this is where we'll close it. We try to take very complex life situations and we try to make it simple, and you can't. And that's why I keep telling people, like, I think, and it's just my humble opinion, just one old guy in a pile of 327 million souls in America, is that the middle is where the peace is. The middle ground, the common ground in the middle. There's going to be bubbles of people that you don't want to invite to your picnic. They're out there. There's hipsters and hippies and dirtbags and scumbags and criminals and corrupt politicians and corrupt big business people. People that if you...
Jones voice.
What?
This is where you have to use your Alex Jones voice.
I don't have one. I wouldn't even have one. But I could put his picture up because he is inspiring shows left and right. And
I was
scared.
You had him pointing at me earlier when I was talking about him.
The guy is great for having graphics. He's got the best graphics department. Look at it. Here he is. Here's Alex flipping out. Typical.
I feel bad for his wife now, don't you?
What's that?
Don't you feel bad for his wife now? He's sitting there all day just yelling.
I did.
She's like, go tell YouTube, and he's like, I can't. They took me down. It's another conspiracy.
I think that he said, "Oh, now see our internet's breaking up here a little bit." Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, he was quoted last night. I haven't really watched Alex Jones like more than 3 times probably in a year, and usually it would come up on Facebook. I'd check it out, but he was quoted the other day as saying on his own. You can still, by the way, you can still go and get the Alex Jones app. You can still see it. His show is still happening. He still has something like 5 million faithful followers on his website. But when he was on the social media platforms, he was up to 20 million views. So he lost 15 million people on a snap of somebody's whim. And I think the rules are vague. And I think it's like, basically what I think is it's like a test. Let's see if we can take Alex down because everybody thinks he's crazy anyway. And then we'll just take down whoever we disagree with. And then I'm like, well, then that's not cool. And the internet, again, the internet's wide open. People say it's a private company, but it's a lot of power for a big company to have. And I don't know. Once you start throttling or controlling who could see who, and that's why I ask people to share this show, because I don't get a lot of shares, but I often wonder, based on my messages, I sometimes question like other shows similar to mine. And there's guys, I had up to 72,000 views on one video. I know shows that I follow just because I'm trying to watch what they do on internet shows. And they used to show, 28,000, 150,000, and now they can't break like 6,000 views. Maybe the audience got tired of them, but I don't think so.
That much of an audience?
What's that? To lose that much of an audience, to me, is suspect.
Right.
So anyway, let's see. Ian's in the chat. Oh my God, Ian, you came at the end. I'm getting the hell out of here. And it's not because you showed up, just because he's going to go say that, Jack. He's going to say, once I showed up in the chat, Big Daddy bailed. We've been here. I guess he had to go eat. Let's see. I don't know what he said. I shouldn't even put him up on the screen because he got invited to this show. By the way, the 2 big mouths in the chat didn't want to come live, Jack.
Oh, yeah?
It's crazy. And he's laughing. He's showing laughing at that.
They do want to go live?
No, they have the link. So if they wanted to come live, they'd be live. Oh. But it ain't happening now. But they're welcome on the Alex Jones show, you and I do. They can come on. That'll be great. Because basically, what we had on that thread was a tug of war. And you and me just crushed them. Like they need more people to get on their end of the rope and start pulling, because Matthew and Ian just, sorry.
Well, see, here's the thing: is that it's not that we crushed them. Okay,
oh, we crushed them.
It's that it's well, that's fine. I mean, that's an opinion, right?
Exactly. I'm only busting balls.
No.
Busting balls.
What I'm saying is, we won the argument based on we listened to them. See, because they're voting for not being able to listen to the conversation, for not being able to listen to the crazy Barnum Bailey or Alex Jones. See, we vote to listen, even if you don't agree. That's how you win no matter what.
Yeah, I tried to explain that to them by saying I even let those two dodos say what they want.
He said if you think that you won the argument, you're deluded. But like that's what he wants to do is dilute the stuff he doesn't like.
Yeah, Matthew says he goes live after dark, but Matthew also, and he did say this, I'm paraphrasing, he said that he got stressed out from politics because Matthew jumps in political debates on 15 pages a day when he's on fire. Our page, he's actually responding to 3 other threads on 3 different Facebook groups and a political forum as he's debating with us. So he actually, and you did say that, I did see you say that, and I can understand it too. I know why it doesn't bother me anymore. You know why, Jack? It's this damn CBD oil. It's got me all chill.
I like
but
how
seriously,
you place that right in there.
I really can't stand the bickering, the arguing. And I also will say, as I end this show on freedom of speech, is that it's a slippery slope. You start banning certain things, and then certain specific people get to tell people who get to hear what. That's not cool. That's not American. And that's my 5-pound opinion. Jack, you finish up. Pitch your shot of Jack. It's coming up when? Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, Shot of Jack will be coming up at 7 p.m. We'll be running it.
Some of the worst baseball coverage on the internet, folks. The guy loves football.
Listen, it's not that I love football. It's that when I post stuff about football, I get 400 and some views. When I post stuff about baseball, I get 200 views. You drive my show. So if I talk about football, I could talk about LSU college football, and I'll get 300 views. If I talk about the Philadelphia Phillies in Pennsylvania, I get 200 views. People might like going to the game, but the storylines are boring.
What I'd like you to look into, though, and this is just interesting to me as a side subject, the seats at these stadiums in baseball are empty. Is that economy? Is that just the Phillies the bats are not swinging? It's pathetic. I'm going to look out for the football games because of the whole kneeling thing. That's starting up again. Are you going to talk about any things like that, or are you just sticking with the stats and the great plays and the great players and the great trades and the great scores?
I'm going to stick to basic story. If I really have to touch on something like that, I'll dance around it correctly. But I don't really listen. Nobody's coming to my page, or no one's turning on the TV. If you turn on the TV to see who's kneeling and who's not kneeling, you don't genuinely like sports. I turn on the TV to watch the Steelers play a great team, or to watch the Cowboys, or I turn on for the game. If you turn on to see who's kneeling and who's not kneeling, dude, I sat in a bar and the dude who doesn't watch sports was going to see who was kneeling and write the NFL a letter. Like, what are you wasting your time for, dude? You don't watch sports. It wasn't going to affect you. Just don't watch it.
Yeah, that's my whole thing. I said on the forum earlier, I defend their right to kneel. I don't think it's an appropriate place to do it, but because I don't really think it does anything, because like you said, most of those guys in those stadiums are looking to do 2 things: drink beer and watch people crack skulls, period. And
I watched the dude write this letter in between shots of Fireball. Like, who cares? You don't care about this. Just have your shots and have your drinks and whatever. And he's probably has 17 misspellings and run-on sentences. With an Ian, here we go, Steelers, here we go. Ian, watch my show. I'll cover the Steelers since we're here in PA. There's a lot of Steelers fans. I'm going to cover different storylines. The fact that the NFL, I'm going to be covering this storyline, the fact that the NFL is going to more of a passing league. It's going to be less defensive. I think you'll see the highest scores you've ever seen. 7 teams paid wide receivers a boatload of money this year, and that's based on the fact that the NFL is going to let wide receivers get away with murder because wide receivers running fast on a TV is good for the optics. It looks nice. I'm going to be covering stuff like that tomorrow, though.
Cool. All right. Well, there you go, folks. You heard it. There's Jack, Shot of Jack Sports, Tuesday nights. Follow him on his page. And we are, I don't know, are we going to do the Alex Jones thing or what? How do we even, because it's spidered off into freedom of speech. And boy, that's the debate I'd like to keep going. But Alex makes me laugh.
I think he's funny.
I think also I have people that are sending these shows to Alex. I'll bet you any money. I already said to you people, Ian Punnett was on my page the other day on the group fan page. Ian Punnett was the main co-host, the fill-in host for Coast to Coast AM national radio show. So just the fact that there's people like that feathering around the Big Daddy Road Show shows me something. And now that Alex doesn't have a platform, it'd be interesting case study. We'll see if we get him live on the Big Daddy Road Show and see if we hit our demise. Because guess what, Jack? I almost wouldn't give a shit. Facebook to me is just getting to be like the same old regurgitation. If it wasn't for A Shot of Jack and the new show called The Grind, a motorcycle build-off with Kevin and a couple other friends like Freddie the Fireman and the Wise Guy Show, I don't know. The internet used to be more fun.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, let's hear what you have to say in the chat. As always, you can catch us on the Big Daddy Roadshow fan group page and on the web, www.bigdaddyroadshow.com. Jack, you have anything else to say?
No, I'm good.
Jack has nothing to say. It's Jack Neary, A Shot of Jack, Tuesday night. What time, Jack? 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Absolutely.
Oh, Jack, would you please get that foam core I told you about?
Yes, I will.
All right. Thanks, Jack. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you.
How about that? Buffs, but he's an entertainer. Think P.T. Barnum. Think Worldwide Wrestling. Consider the Source kind of show, but which is the same as the Big Daddy Road Show, by the way. If you want to know more about Alex Jones, go on to get onto the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. He has a couple shows. Number 911 is one you could look for. It's not the most flattering show for Alex Jones. I remember watching it and going, oh, my God. But they got him high as you know what, because they could smoke the cannabis out there in California. And somebody gave Alex some pretty potent stuff. So anyway, this debate will continue, I'm sure. We're talking about freedom of speech. This is America. Protect your freedoms, folks. Don't let them shut you up. And if somebody tries to shut you up, keep talking. Like even if I don't agree with a lot of what I see, but I will defend their right to say it. That's why I think this graphic. I'll leave it with this. The guy's yelling, "Shut up, shut up," and he's holding a sign saying freedom of speech. It's kind of contradictory. Anyway, this is Big Daddy. This is the Big Daddy Road Show. Thanks for watching. I'll put this on the new. By the way, some of you guys are going to the old Big Daddy, the raunchy Big Daddy YouTube channel, and I literally can't. I lost the ability to get an email. I can't even get into that damn thing. But the new shows are a little bit easier to take. I only dropped the F-bomb twice. I'm working on that. But this is an internet show. It's not for kids. It's for adult talk and occasional comedy. So if you wouldn't mind hitting the like, share, and love buttons, and more importantly, getting to me via private message, getting the links to the new YouTube. The more people that click the likes and loves and subscribe will get entered into new algorithms on the internet and hopefully get more people in the chat. And I'm seeing more and more people in the chat. So the new way of thinking is working. Here's my last thing. This is what I kind of feel like when I'm talking to guys like Ian on my page. Ian, you and Matthew seem like this here Censormatic machine graphic. And it seems like you put in a truth on one end, and then it goes through all the different gears. One box here would be Matthew. One box would be whoever people in your clan, political clan. Then there's Ian's box. And then it goes through all these different filters. And then what comes out of the other end is your versions, your group's version of the truth. I don't know. People see things differently. And I understand that they see things differently, but in a lot of ways, people are bullshitting each other, themselves, and it seems like it's getting ridiculous. But again, freedom of speech, that's my opinion. You guys are certainly allowed to have yours down below. And as long as you're civil and not getting vile and gross like some of the trolls, if you get all trolly on me, you do get banned. You get banned. But that doesn't mean you're getting kicked off the platform. It just means that you're not behaving yourself here. So I'm not against people banning people off of a specific page, but to just take off years worth of work and to like completely just obliterate it, make it disappear, that's the kind of censorship that I'm against. Hey, that's just my opinion. You tell me what you think. What do you think about being censored? What do you think about freedom? And do you guys even know who Voltaire is? Look him up. Pretty interesting feller. Okay, guys, this is the Big Daddy Road Show. I'm out of here. We'll catch you next time. Peace.